this is Margaret Scott, the first female writer in Transformers comics, and you are listening to the Geekcast Radio Network.
Welcome to The Pullbag. Join us as we dig out our latest comics and discuss them with a rotating panel of the GCRN crew. So sit back and enjoy this week's Pullbag.
Alright folks, once again it is time for the Profiling Previews episode here on The Pullbag from the Geekcast Radio Network. I am, of course, TFG and Mike. And joining me, the usual crew around here, we have JT on the Marvel Solicits. We have Jim and Eric from Weird Science DC on the DC Comic Solicits. We have Nicole Hailstorm on the IDW. And Jeremy Fein on the Image Comic Solicits. So please enjoy The Pullbag's Profiling Previews March 2015 releases. Alright folks, it is time once again to do profiling previews, and this segment of course is the IDW Publishing March 2015 releases. These are things that it will be releasing in March or already have released in March from IDW Publishing, of course. As you heard in the beginning of the show, I am TFG and Mike. Joining me is Nicole. Hello.
Hello. Bonjour. Aloha. All that fun stuff. You know who I am.
Yeah.
I apologize.
So the website that I go to get all of my solicitations every time we do one of these profiling previews episodes is comicbookresources.com. And their gem of the month turns out to be Gem and the Holograms from IDW Publishing.
Woo! Raise the roof.
Yes. There's a little bit of a question mark here on this one because there is a advanced review of the first issue over on comicsalliance.com. And in it, the reviewer says that the artist in this is Sophie Campbell. Well, I thought it was supposed to be Ross Campbell, so I don't know what's going on here. I have no idea, folks, so I'm just going to go by what the solicitations say. And they say that Ross Campbell is the artist. Also, Campbell and Amy Meverson have done 4 of the covers. Kelly Thompson is the writer. Gem and the Holograms, #1. Showtime Synergy. Meet Jerrica Benton, a girl with a secret, and she and her sister Kimber team with 2 friends to become Gem and the Holograms. But what does it...
That's wrong right there, too.
What?
It's not just friends. Are they going to go down the route that Shauna and Aja are their sisters, adopted sisters?
Potentially, but this is just a solicitation.
Oh.
I mean...
Okay.
It's just what they...
Okay, now I get confused. Okay, never mind. Okay.
She and her sister Kimber team with 2 friends to become Gem and the Holograms, but what does it mean to be Gem today? Fashion, art, action, style collide in the most outrageous comic of 2015. This is a 32-page comic. It will be $3.99. One of the hottest properties from the 1980s hits comics for the first time ever. 5 stunning rainbow foil covers, 1 classic Gem cover for each band member by Amy Meverson, plus 1 featuring the whole band by series artist Ross Campbell. And next month, in April, check out Amy Meverson's classic covers featuring Gem's greatest foils, The Misfits.
Woohoo!
If you've been blown away by My Little Pony and Transformers, wait till you see Gem and the Holograms. All new, all outrageous. But there's more. Want to collect all the covers but don't have the time to chase them down? Buy the entire set, which comes in a deluxe holographic rainbow foil collectible box. Includes all 5 covers from Ross Campbell and Amy Meverson.
Okay, it says Ross there.
Yes, it says Ross in all of the solicitations. The Sophie thing just came out as we're recording this, March 12th, 2015. So, this box set is going to be absolutely amazing, and for only $24.99, that's just great. I know some people are going to say this, but it's just covers. It's just the first issue with different covers. No, these covers are
they're cool.
They're truly outrageous, honestly.
They're awesome. I like it.
Yep. And as I said, each band member is going to get her own cover. So you have Aja, Kimber, Gem, and Shayna. Very, very, very cool. Absolutely love the way they're designed on these covers. I really want to see images of the box set. Like,
Yeah,
as of this
the actual
recording,
box. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, as of this recording, the issue number 1 isn't out yet. Like I said, we're recording this March 12th. It doesn't come out till the 25th, but it's one of those things where I need to see what the box looks like.
Well, I've pre-ordered mine. So, like I said, I'm a sucker for Gem and the holograms. So I'm excited to get I'm more excited for next month, but
Yes, we know.
yeah, you know,
We know.
I
You and your evil
love,
ways.
no,
Uh-huh.
they're not evil. They're just
Misunderstood.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Come on, Stormer is not evil. We all know that. Pizzazz, she's just
evil.
spoiled. She's just spoiled.
Everybody who's anybody that grew up watching Gem, do yourself a favor and check this out, because as the solicitation said, this is the first time ever that Gem has had a comic. Okay, technically there was that Hasbro thing that combined Gem and Mask and G.I. Joe. I don't even remember what the heck that thing was, but like, really, this is the first time ever Gem has ever had a comic book series, and it's going to be really, really interesting.
I think so too.
Good.
Awesome. Well, because you sent me that thing about the. I just lost it. People that have been reviewing it.
Yes, the advanced review.
That
Yes.
copy. Oh my gosh, it sounds very. The take on Jerica sounds very interesting.
Well, they're given the way that the review is written is that it kind of says that the show wasn't that great when it came to the origin. I disagree with the reviewer on that. I disagree with the reviewer on that, but he does. The reviewer does go on to say that, this is a, building upon the origin from the original TV show, and it's taking it in a different direction, and it's giving Jerica and the rest of the holograms a reason to become Gem and the Holograms. Yeah. So absolutely love it. Can't wait. Check it out, folks. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Up next from IDW, we have Transformers Windblade number 1 of 3, Combiner Wars Part 1.
Yay!
Written by Margaret Scott. It's art by Sarah Stone. Apparently, Casey Collar is doing the cover on this one. There's going to be there's going to be doing a bunch of there's going to be a subscription cover and a regular cover for this. So, the war begins. The first strike in Combiner Wars is against Windblade's homeworld, and she is not happy about it. Her long-lost Cybertronian colony is found, and the only thing that can protect it is Superion.
Oh, nice. So she's got Superion on her. I was wondering with this whole Combiner War how everything was going to work out.
The creative team from the first smash hit Windblade series returns. Windblade is the biggest new Transformers character in years. Don't miss out. All the drama and pathos of the original Windblade series, plus more combiners. Variant cover is done by Transformers game and toy artist Sarah Petrie Droscher. Probably butchering that name, but I cannot wait. I just wish it wasn't just a 3-issue series. Yeah. I want more.
Because, like, with the last Windblade, I still thought something was missing. It should have been a 5th issue in the Windblade series. And me being selfish, I just like the characters. And of course, Nautica was in it. So everyone loves Nautica these days. And so I'm thinking, hopefully this isn't rushed. Yeah. We'll see. Though. I'm excited.
Absolutely.
We're Transformers love. So.
Yep. And plus, I've read the solicits we'll talk about in April's episode and May's episode, and they are going where I thought they were going to go.
You'll have to tell me afterwards. Like,
as far as the location. Because I remember at the end of Windblade number 4, I said I want them to go to...
Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. All right, up next we have TMNT. We have the IDW Collection Volume 1. Tom Waltz, Kevin Eastman, Brian Lynch, Eric Burnham. are on writing: Dan Duncan, Matthias Santaluco, Franco Uro, Andy Kuhn, Ross Campbell, Charles Paul Wilson III, and more are on art. Dan Duncan's on covers. IDW's relaunch of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles has been a hit with fans and critics alike. Now collect the series in an all-new, oversized hardcovers that present the stories in recommended reading order. Collects the first 12 issues of the new ongoing series, plus Raphael, Michelangelo, Donatello, and Leonardo, and Splinter micro series in one-shots spliced in between. This is a hardcover, full color, $49.99, 384 pages.
Okay, I have the Transformers collection, ID collection.
Mm-hmm.
People, these books are amazing. They're put together so beautifully. You don't get any extras, like you do in your collector, in your trade paperbacks. But it's so nice to have them in chronological order. Let me tell you, the pre Barber and Roberts IDW Transformers, it made it so nice to have everything chronologically in place, So I'm pretty sure this is going to look beautiful, and it has one of my favorite one-shots of all time, Splinter.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. That's still one of my favorite single issues of all time. It made me tear up. It was so sweet. Get a whole different view of Splinter.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm excited for this. Even though I have all the issues, I'm excited to have that hardcover.
Oh, absolutely. Cool. Like, this to me is, like, when I do comics here in the Pull Bag, folks, and people will know this, I've been doing this podcast for pretty much 3 years now. I will buy comics, I will read them, I will thumb through them as I go and do a review, and then I will, throw them on my shelf, and, 6-8 months later, I'll take them up to my local comic shop and say, hey, can I get some trading credit for these so I can get new stuff? So I'm not really a comic collector that much. I'm more so doing it for the podcast so I can find as much new material as possible every time. But these things, especially this series, oh, you damn right I'm going to be buying this.
First of all, you should be buying it anyways because it's an amazing series.
Well, yeah. I mean, I have, subscriptions on Comixology,
no,
but
I'm talking to the audience out there.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Everyone should be reading Turtles.
Anyone that hasn't read Turtles, if you have an extra $50, take it, go to your local comic shop and tell them you want this. This way you can get caught up on the first 16, basically 16. It's, like I said, it's the first 12 issues of the series and the 4-issue miniseries thing, or the 5-issue micro series thing.
Yeah.
So you can get caught up, you can read it as the story order intended it to be. See, that's the thing, like, it's been a year since my buddy Joe Reed and I started doing the Turtles reviews here in the Pull Bag, and it's one of those things where when we started them, I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to do them in trade. Joe's going to do them by single issues by themselves and whatever else. And I found myself, when I do it, I'm like, oh my God, I have to read this trade, then I have to read this micro series trade, then I have to go back and read this other one to catch this. And it's like, why can't these all be in just one place? And now they are.
See, this is another thing I've done with the Transformers, the Phase 1.
Mm-hmm.
The new crew and stuff, starting with the death of Optimus Prime. So if someone wants to get into Transformers, I just hand them that book. I'm like, go read this. You're welcome. Because you've got these 12 essential issues, which pretty much got everyone jazzed about Transformers again, and it's a good way to get people updated and stuff. So I'm hoping, and I'm pretty sure the Turtles will be doing the same thing, because I'm not kidding, I love the series. I remember when I was doing Fanboy Versus and the first issue came out of the new Turtles, everyone's just like, oh, let's just read it. I'm like, no, it's amazing, you really gotta go read it. People, it's worth the $50.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. There are several people I know that just scoff at this. Oh, it's IDW. Oh, it's IDW trying to redo the old Mirage. No, this is IDW taking care and they're basically taking loving hands for writing and art, and they are putting so much into the. Right now, as of this recording, we are up to the Attack on Technodrome storyline, and there have been certain things, and people can go back in mine and Joe's reviews and hear that there might be a certain art style I might not like or stuff like that, but the story has never failed me, never. At all. So, okay. So next up,
I could go on and on about this.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Next up, we have D4VE number 2 of 5, written by Ryan Ferrier, art by Valentin Ramon. Invasion. D4VE's crisis spirals out of control when his home life and his day job take some unexpected turns, but a new presence on 3-4E.
Yeah.
I hate this. I don't hate this, people, but 3-4-RTH. It's basically Earth. Ignites. It's basically Earth. Ignites his long-lost spark for battle. D4VE also faces his greatest challenge yet, fatherhood. Now, the funny thing about this series is I think this 5-issue spotlight is print only, because it's not... The only thing that shows up in Comixology is the original, because Monkey Brains was the publisher that originally had this, and I actually contacted Ryan Ferrier, the writer, and I'm like, do you know if IDW is going to put out digital versions of this? He said, I'm not sure, but, here's the original way. But apparently the print run, he said, is supposed to have a few different things in it than the digital run, so... I'm not exactly sure, and I never got a response from IDW when I tweeted at them about it. So
all I know is I really enjoyed the first issue.
Did you?
It just goes to show that everyone's like, oh, everything will be better with robots. It's not. They start to become sentient, and they have the same crappy life like we do. Things go wrong. They have boring lives. It's not as exciting as or adventurous that people might think it is, and I love it.
Oh Lord.
Again, robots.
Right. So those are my picks, folks. Now these are the picks that Nicole picked out. Speaking of robots, 2 of her favorite loves, Zombies versus Robots, number 3.
Yes.
Written by Chris Ryall, Steve Niles, art by Anthony DeCidio, Val Merrick, Ashley Wood is on covers. Inherit the Earth, Part 3. Spacefaring humans have returned to Earth to find it still dead, but crawling with oddly sentient zombies, robots, and mermen? Finally. Also, Niles and Mayra continue to help rebuild the mythos in unexpected ways. Dun dun dun. I have yet to check this series out. I'm really scared at this point to check this series out.
I've only read the first issue. It's one of the... It's different, and it's fun, and it's... It'll be interesting to see where they go with it by the third issue, Yeah. It's about as crazy as the title, so if you're not into zombies or you're not into robots, yeah, this isn't for you. But why aren't you into zombies and robots?
I like robots, I just don't care about zombies.
Oh, man.
So, Nicole's next choice is The Fly, Outbreak number 1. What?
I'm not kidding. I'm so excited for this.
Okay, so The Fly, Outbreak number 1 of 5. This is a 5-issue spotlight written by Brandon Seifert and art and covers by Mention 3. Years ago, a scientist had a horrific accident when he tried to use his newly invented teleportation device and became a human fly hybrid. Now his almost human son continues to search for a cure for the mutated genes. But a breakthrough turns into a breakout, and anyone exposed risks turning into a monster as well. 32 pages, $3.99.
Like it's just the covers alone are worth the money. Oh my gosh! Look how creepy cool these are.
Yep.
Yeah, Menton 3, awesome stuff.
Yep. So the under this, it's for the subscription variant. It says David Cronenberg's horror masterpiece continues in this all-new sequel. written by Brandon Seifert, who had Hellraiser and Witch Doctor. Terrifying painted art by Menton 3 from X-Files and Silent Hill. Be afraid. Be very afraid. Nothing spreads faster than fear. Yeah, I don't know about that one.
I'm excited.
I don't think I've ever seen I might have had, like,
Really?
I might have seen it as a kid if my mom and her then boyfriend were watching it, but I don't think as an adult I've ever seen the whole thing through.
Well, there's an older black and white one, or there's a one from the 80s with Jeff Goldblum, which is the creepy one, which I absolutely
That's the one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Is the one with Goldblum. Yeah.
Yeah, to me, it's creepy cool, and the way that it ends is just like, ugh. So, I mean, I doubt the comics will end it that way because they want to probably continue the story.
Yeah.
So, but I'm a fan of horror and creepy monsters, and so this is totally up my alley. Like I said, the cover alone is disgusting enough for me to want to buy this. So.
All right, Nicole's third choice is Monster Motors: The Curse of Minnie Van Helsing #2. Brian Lynch is on writing. Nick Roche is on art and cover. Undead cars and trucks driving the earth. One bite will turn any machine into one of them. Their numbers are multiplying. Their hunger is growing. They are zombies. And they are apart to descend on the sleepy town of Transylvania, Kentucky. Oh no. Seriously?
You really should be reading this.
Yeah, I know. But don't worry. Genius mechanic Vic Frankenstein and famed monster car hunter Minnie Van Helsing are teaming up to stop the Night of the Driving Dead.
Oh, there's so many wonderful things about this. I just did a review on this.
Did you?
Yeah, and I was able to. I'm gonna brag here. I was able to talk to Nick Roach for a couple of minutes, and it made me so happy. But this is one of those comics where I sit and I'm smiling the whole time. Mm-hmm. It's so much fun. It's an all ages book, but being an adult, you don't feel like it's talking down to you. It's just so much. Each panel has just a little bit of goodness that it's so much fun. I'm sad it's only a 2-parter.
Well,
and it's got Yetis in it. Well, it had a Yeti in it.
No, you and Amy and your damn Yetis.
Yetis are
awesome. Don't they have a main series though, or is that just a limited thing?
They had a one-shot back in
okay.
August or September of last year. It was just one of those, hey, we want to do this, and it was so much fun. It has the main bad guy, Cadillacula. Dracula is a Cadillac. He sucks oil and gas from other cars. I'm not kidding. It's amazing. And he's kind of in a really creepy car. He teams up with Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hybrid. So I'm not kidding. It's just so much fun. But this is all about Minnie Van Helsing and him and his daughter April, who is amazing. I love her too. So when they talked about the zombies at the end, I literally punched the air with excitement. I'm like, that is awesome. It's not kidding. People, you should read this. Like I said, it's even if you didn't read the one shot from last year, you could pick up the first issue and know exactly what's going on. And it features my favorite Laguna Buggy. Hello. So, yeah, it's just a lot of fun. And if you want to see Nick Roach in comic book form, there you go. I swear he drew himself as Vic. Nick and Vic.
That wouldn't surprise me.
So I'm excited to read the second issue.
So Nicole's last choice actually had me doing a bit of research because I noticed this happening, I think, a year or so ago. There's a publisher out there called Lion Forge Comics, and they had done a couple of 80s properties we all know and should love, Airwolf, and Knight Rider. Well, they are expanding their distribution of these titles, and they are using IDW to do so.
Why not? IDW does great work.
I know, right? Why not? Exactly. So Nicole's fourth choice here for March is Miami Vice #1, written by Joe Casey, art by Jim Mahfood. Iconoclastic creators Joe Casey and Jim Mahfood turn the world of Miami Vice on its head in a way that's got to be seen to be believed. Detectives Sonny Crockett and Ricardo Tubbs are taking on crime in a city rampant with danger at every turn. An 80s classic is now a Lion Forge reimagining for a bold new audience.
Okay, this has a different art style. Well, the cover at least I'm looking at. It looks very interesting. What I like about it, I'm like, please tell me they're going to have pop-up colors. He's got a pop-up color, people. Sweet.
You mean pop-up collar?
Yeah.
Okay, because colors always pop. Collars not necessarily.
Collar. You know.
Yes.
It just brings me back to my childhood, and it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it does look like it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm really happy because actually the title of this is Miami Vice Remix #1. But I'm really happy that Lion Forge went to IDW with Miami Vice and Airwolf and Knight Rider, because when I had first heard about the Knight Rider comic, I'm like, I had been saying that for 2 years. I'm like, IDW needs to do a Knight Rider comic. They have everything else. Why aren't they doing a Knight Rider comic? And here we go. You know, you had Lion Forge put it together, and you've got IDW putting it out. I just cannot wait to see the Knight Rider and the Airwolf comic.
That's going to be fun, too.
Yep.
This is why I like IDW so much. They're so talking to me in my childhood. Just pretty much everything that they're putting out these days. Like Monster Motors. I love monsters. Like Gem and the Holograms. I love her. You know, and now Miami Vice. And I'm like, yeah. Love it.
All right, folks, that's going to do it for IDW. Coming up next on Profiling Previews here in March, we're going to be heading over to DC Comics to see what they have to offer. So I'll be back in a moment with the Weird Science of DC blog, guys, crew. We'll be back in a bit.
I won't, but love you.
No, you'll be back next month. Come on now.
I'm talking about when you come back from break.
Yeah, true. Ladies and gentlemen, before we get to the DC Comics solicitations for releases coming here in March 2015, I want to take this quick time to apologize to Sophie Campbell. In the IDW segment you just heard, I used her name as Ross Campbell. At the time I was waiting for some sort of answer on what was going on with this whole thing. Turns out that Ross Campbell was going through the process of becoming a woman. So it is now Sophie Campbell. Again, my deepest apologies. I hope I didn't offend anyone. Now, on to the DC Comics section of this episode.
And here we go.
Alright, folks, it is time for the DC Comics releases here in March 2015. Of course, I am TF2 and Mike. Joining me once again are the Weird Science of DC guys. We have Jim. Hello, sir.
Hello.
And Eric.
What's going on?
Not much. I've been sucked into it. When we did the After Dark, where we basically did all the Convergence stuff in one episode a few months ago.
Yep.
I was at my comic shop about a month and a half ago, and they gave me their latest, order slip, and I'm like, oh great. And I looked at it; it's all Convergence stuff. I'm like, all right. Nightwing Oracle, Green Arrow, and I don't even know what else I checked off. It's like, oh, God. Because I just have to know what this thing is all about. I'm not getting every single book.
No.
I'm not like you guys.
Yeah. Well, and we're going to struggle because, man, it's expensive.
What I'm worried about the most, though, is just the regular Convergence titles that will tell this story. Everything else is just going to be fun.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah, that's the key word there, is hopefully.
Yeah.
So we're going to start with Jim's picks this time around. His first pickup is Superman number 40, written by John Romita Jr., art and cover by John Romita Jr. and Klaus Janson. Apparently there's going to be a movie poster variant cover by Dave Johnson with this one. It will be on sale March 25th $3.99 for the regular version, and the combo pack edition is going to be $4.99. Yeah, DC, that a way to screw everybody to get a digital code.
Always.
The spotlight shines on John Romita Jr. as he goes solo to tell the story of the testing of Superman's new power against the Justice League. But the appearance of an unexpected enemy could end the Man of Steel's life.
Oh, yes.
Kryptonite Bullet, anybody?
Maybe. I don't. This is going to be an odd issue because I really do think that John Romita Jr. was brought on with the promise of working with Jeff Johns. And now all of a sudden, not only is he not going to in June, but it seems like the carpet has been pulled out from under him for this number 40 issue in March. I'm very interested to see what he does writing as well as art. But yeah, to me it seems very odd that all of a sudden Jeff Johns is off the book after it was such a big deal to get him over, John Romita Jr. over to work with Jeff Johns. So I'm interested in this.
Well, and I read an interview, though. It seems like he's really struggling to get this one done, too. So I don't know if Jeff Johns has bailed, like, out of nowhere.
I think it was. But I do. Have you seen the movie poster cover?
It's trying to think.
It's
here.
the
pretty excellent.
Superfly. It's the Superfly one. Is actually what it is. It's pretty. I think it's pretty cool, but yeah.
So, Superfly with is Jimmy Snuka's ghost gonna come up?
That'd be awesome. Yeah, come and supposedly murder his wife. Is what I remember about Superfly. And that happened near our house. I think that happened in Allentown, which is about 15 minutes from here. But I think that was the story, right? Didn't he get in trouble a little bit and then was cleared? I don't know where this talk's going.
I don't remember
Superman
this,
book, we're talking about murdered wives, but yeah. Again, though, I'm looking forward to this. This is before, like all these books, this March, all these books are going to have a common theme of either ending arcs before Convergence or just kind of one-shot stories. And this obviously is going to be a one-shot, but I am looking forward to it just to see what John Romita Jr. does writing.
The Superfly one is the one that looks like a 70s title, right?
Yep. Yeah. Looks like Wonder Woman's in the background stroking his golden car.
Something.
She's
stroking something.
Yeah.
And it looks like oh my god. It looks like she is the ball and chain instead of him being the ball and chain.
Yeah, he's breaking it.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
Okay then. Okay, so we have Supergirl number 40, which is Jim's second selection, written by Kay Perkins and Mike Johnson. Hey,
yep.
I remember him. He used to write some Transformers stuff a while back. Art and cover by Emanuela Lupacchino, I believe that's how that's pronounced. Right. I could be wrong. Movie poster variant cover will be done by Marco D'Alfonso. It's going to be on sale March 18th. It's $2.99. No digital up pricing. It's time for final exams at the Crucible Academy, and they may just spell the death of Supergirl.
Yep, well, this is the last issue of Supergirl for now in DC. This is it. It was canceled after this, and then after Convergence, it's not coming back. So I am looking forward to this because I've really enjoyed this Crucible story. It's kind of what I hope was going to be the Breakfast Club in space. Didn't turn out to be that, but it has been fun. And then at one point, you could tell all of a sudden Perkins and Johnson were told, listen, you got to wrap this up. And they did it in a pretty decent way to wrap things up without making it feel rushed. And I'm looking forward to see how it ends. Superboy's in it with him, or with her. And it's been fun. I just wish it could have finished in what seemed to be what they were going to do. It was going to be more of an expanded story, but I've enjoyed it. And again, it ends the arc, it ends the book, so I'm in.
There are many things that we haven't had a chance to cover inside the pull bag over the last 3 years that the podcast is going, and sadly, the entire Kryptonian family is one of them.
Yeah.
I have not been able to get any super books. I even looked on Comixology to find the Supergirl trades. They start at Volume 2 and 3.
Yeah.
They don't. I don't know why they don't have Volume 1, but anyway. All right, Jim's third pick is Batman Eternal issue number 52, the final one for now until they get Batman Eternal the second year or whatever the hell they're going to call it. Written by Snyder, Tinian IV, Fawkes, Higgins, and Seeley. Art by Paulo Siqueira and others. Cover by Jason Fabuk. This is an advance solicit because apparently it's going to be on sale April 1st.
Yes. Yeah, I think all the weeklies are ending, I believe, on April.
Yeah. So this month in Batman Eternal, the epic bad story over a year in the making comes to a stunning end. Gotham City is in flames, villains are running wild in the streets, Bat Tech has been corrupted, and the mastermind behind it all has put a knife in Batman's ribs. How will the Dark Knight put an end to this nightmare, and how will it shape the face of Gotham City to come? So it's Talia al Ghul that stabbed him in the ribs,
Nice.
huh?
Well, it's weird because right now it's almost pointing towards it being Signal Man, which I'm pretty sure it won't be, but they're really pushing you to believe that the last week or so. The reason why I picked this one is because I want something to be resolved. I'm getting so irritated with this book. It's killing me. Some people love it, some people don't. I don't. I'm really getting sick and tired of every week reading it. I just reviewed issue 49 this week, and I still don't know what the hell's going on. We have 3 more issues, and they are going so slow with it. It's as if they just... And I said to Eric a bunch of times, I really am fearing that the last panel of this last issue will be the reveal of who this villain is, and then they'll just be like continued in season 2 or year 2 or whatever they're going to call it. I really have had it to wit's end with this, and I just want it to end. So it's a weird thing where I'm suggesting this or picking this. It's because it's the last issue, and I'm glad.
Now, I dropped off of Batman Eternal right around issue 29 or 30.
Yep.
Somewhere around there.
You have not missed much.
I just couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah.
It, like, the whole point of, and this goes back to the whole 0-year thing. They took, and I understand why Scott Snyder and DC did this. I get that. They took a month off, or they moved issues so they could give Capello time to do issue 29 of Batman, or whatever it was, where issue 28 is that preview.
28 is the preview issue.
Right, 28 is the preview. They reintroduced Stephanie Brown.
Yep.
They do all this stuff, and I had that's another thing that I eventually want to get to in the pull bag is to cover the Stephanie Brown Batgirl stuff. I haven't had a chance to do that yet, but like I went into that, I'm like, okay, this is cool. This is going to be good. I read the first, like I said, 20 or so issues, and it's like, okay, this is dragging out too damn long.
And it gets worse. After when you stop, it gets even worse. I mean, there's so many it's the art teams, the creative teams in general changing just makes every couple weeks just a new start. It drives you nuts. The different artists each week. I've said it all along. I don't know what this is going to look like when it's collected, because you're going to go through 20 pages and then you're hit right in the face with a new creative team. It's.
Wasn't the first collection going to be issues 1 through 20?
Yeah, I think it is. And
I read somewhere that the first. Yeah, I'm like, how do they do that?
It's going to be crazy. And I really think that for some reason, DC themselves think that this is such a big book, and it isn't to me. It kills me. It really does. And we get asked a lot of times, like, if you weren't doing the site, all this, what books would you read or not read? I would not be reading this. I would have dropped off on this book so long ago. So yeah. 52, it's done, and I can wipe my hands.
That's the problem with all the weekly titles, though, because they have to drag it out, and then you get months of just seems like filler to stretch out the story to get to that year mark.
Yeah, I just want something to happen. In fact, a couple issues ago, just to show you what you're missing, a couple issues ago, there was a big part about how Mr. Freeze got himself a root beer machine. That was a big part of the issue. It's ridiculous.
Oh, my God. Yeah. Eric, you're not reading Eternal, are you?
Yes, I am.
Are you in agreement with Jim?
Well, I've only picked it up recently for our own podcast, so I could talk about it with him. So I've missed the majority. I think I've read the past maybe 6 issues, and that's about it. Besides for issue 1.
Yeah. Jim's final pick for March release is Batman Superman number 20. I'm waiting to see if there's no final issue on this thing. I thought this series was supposed to end at like 11.
Yeah, no, it's gonna keep going.
Yeah, written by Greg Pak, art and cover by Ardian Saif and Sandra Hope. Movie poster variant cover by Tony Harris and others. It's on sale March 18th. It's going to be a $3.99 and $4.99 combo pack edition. The devastating truth behind the terrorists from Kandor has been uncovered. Now Superman and Batman must piece together who set this plan in motion and stop them before the innocent lives are destroyed. This issue also offered as a...
Yes.
Well, okay, so this one I nipped in the bud really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I read the first 2 issues of this series and dropped it.
Okay.
I was so confused.
Was it Jay Lee's art?
Yeah, it was Jay Lee's art, but it wasn't because of it wasn't because of Jim Lee's art. It was just because of the storytelling, and it was like I have no idea what that like. I didn't realize. Oh, hey, it's 2 Earths. Duh.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get that at the time.
I'll say it's Jay Lee on this. Sorry, Jim, but because he's got a weird gothic kind of style that's painted and everything has to look like a certain way, and you lose a lot of the story with that. I gave this book to Jim to review because I couldn't get into it anymore.
Yeah.
Well, I picked it up. I think probably around. I think it was issue 10 or 11, and it was a one shot where they got. Ray Palmer shrunk. I think it was it Superman that Superman got shrunk with Ray Palmer, and they had like a fantastic journey into Batman's head, and it was a really fun issue. And then after that, it's actually gotten better each month. And this last arc, this is what ends this arc. It's what they term the Superman's Joker arc, where for some reason Batman wants Superman to have his own Joker. Just very odd concept, yeah, because he's a jerk off. But this ends it. They've revealed who it was, and I really liked it. I don't want to spoil it fully, but this is another issue that's going to end this arc. Then Convergence comes, and then it starts up again in June. But I want to see how this arc ends. I've really enjoyed it. I like the book. I didn't like it at first either, but I think it's gotten a lot better. I don't like Jay Lee. Whatever the hell, yeah, you pronounce it, but I don't like his art at all either. I don't even like, a lot of people go gaga about his covers as well. He just recently did a Catwoman cover. I don't like it. I don't like his art one bit. I'm not a fan at all. But now this Ardian Saif's on, really good. Mm-hmm. In fact, I think he just did the art on the Earth 1 Superman book. So yeah, I remember when I first heard about this series. I didn't, like I said before, I didn't know the actual gist. What I was hoping for was some sort of, and I know this isn't the case because they've essentially ignored and dropped and said DC Animated Universe stuff is done. Yeah, but I was hoping it was going to be in that kind of style, with the not style as far as art, but as far as the writing goes, like that kind of animosity. And it just was too weird. Yeah, it was just too weird for me. All right. Moving on to Eric's picks. His first pick is the Multiversity Ultra Comics #1. Written by Grant Morrison, art by Doug Mahnke and Christian Almy. The cover is also done by Doug Mahnke. It will be out March 18th for $4.99 and no digital code. DC. The penultimate chapter of the greatest adventure in DC's history is here. The acclaimed Final Crisis team of Grant Morrison and Doug Mahnke reunite for a story so big it could only take place in the real world. That's right, Earth 33 is back. With the multiversity under attack, a team of scientists create one final savior to take the otherworldly threat, and its name, Ultra Comics. Literally held in your hands, one being will attempt to halt annihilation of creation, and you, the reader, will have a front row seat as you become an integral part of the resistance. It's another exciting experimental story told by 2 of today's top creators. You won't want to miss this exciting issue, which acts as Chapter 8 of the Multiversity storyline. So, are they like saying, hey, call a 900 number to decide who lives and dies? Are they doing that?
No.
Eric, why do you want people to check this out?
I mostly want people to check this out. If they've also been reading Multiversity, all the other issues, in each of those issues, you see this comic. It's supposedly the cursed comic that's causing all the destruction throughout the multiverse with the Gentry. And this is the comic that's caused all the problems. Everybody says it's cursed. So you want to check this out because this is what all these people are reading throughout the multiverse. So it's really interesting that they're going to... Actually, that's funny to me that this is the penultimate chapter and not actually the final one.
What is it? The penultimate?
Yeah, I hate that word. But... No, you definitely got to, if you've been reading Multiversity so far, Multiversity's been fun because it's been Grant Morrison, who's kind of out there as a writer. He's a good writer, but you have the best artists out there working on these books. And this is the one that you want to read because you find out what everybody else in these multiverse, like different Earths have been reading, and you can find out what the hell it's been going on.
Cool. Eric's next pick is Justice League number 40, written by Jeff Johns, art and cover by Jason Fabuk. Movie poster variant cover will be done by Emanuela Lupacino. It will be on sale March 18th. $3.99 regular, $4.99 combo. Breathe, Mike. Just breathe.
Do you get this upset at all these other previews? Or is it just
no,
the DC
no,
one
because
that
Marvel
we get to come in and you get so angry.
Marvel includes one no matter what the price is.
It's just every time I listen to everyone and man, you're so happy, and then it gets to us and you're like, oh Jesus Christ, we got to talk to these guys again. Oh man.
No, I love talking with you guys. It's sadly that the DC thing.
It's just that we have to be DC.
The prologue to this summer's upcoming Justice League event, the Dark Side War. It's been building since Justice League number 1. Now Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, and the Flash and Aquaman, Cyborg, and the rest of the DC universe will come face to face with the two most powerful and dangerous entities in existence when both come for Earth. But why? To what lengths in the League have to go to survive? And what secrets about the League will be revealed?
Dun, dun, dun.
So they've been planning this since the very first issue.
I believe Jeff Johns has. I think he just keeps it to himself and then tells DC, this is going to happen.
Well, I guess that's one of the perks of being the chief creative officer, I guess. So this basically is a bridge to the next storyline, right?
Yes, it is a strict prelude of things to come. It just gets all our pieces in place to set up for the next when June comes.
Okay.
But it's, everything you've been reading, like for Justice League to this point has led to this point. You had the first 6 issues of Justice League where they fought Darkseid and overcame. And then we went to Forever Evil, where we saw the Anti-Monitor was on Earth 3 and destroyed it, and he was going to make his way to this Earth. And it's just all going to explode. It's like, how cool is watching Rocky when you first watched Rocky, and then you watch Rocky 2 for the rematch? That's what I want this to be, the Rocky 2 of the DC universe.
Really?
Yes, I do.
Rocky 2.
But it's weird, for this analogy, Darkseid is Rocky.
Oh, nice.
That's nuts.
But no, you've got all the Justice League, though, back into place. You have Hal Jordan, Green Lantern, back on Earth, and he's a part of the team again. And it's bound to be a great series, a story arc.
Yeah, I can get people jumping on board. All right, up next for Eric, we have Green Lantern New Guardians number 40, the final issue. Written by Justin Jordan, art and cover by Diogenes Neves and Mark Deering. It's on sale March 18th, $3.99. No digital. Once and for all, Kyle will come to terms with his destiny as the White Lantern, filler of the reservoir behind the source wall that keeps our universe from destructing. But how can he even accept the fact that this role will soon kill him? The fate of the White Lantern will be revealed in this extra-sized final issue. I love Kyle Rayner. I've wanted to get this series, but I just haven't yet. Is it worth picking up?
Yeah, especially the first 20 issues. I really dug what was going on in that. I preferred Kyle Rayner as a Green Lantern, but him being a White Lantern is fun too.
Yeah, and you better do it quick.
Yeah.
They kind of spoiled that he's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's...
I don't believe it. I don't believe it one bit.
I don't know. I mean, It's just nah.
I don't know, Eric. Do you think that they're going to even address that in the end of this, or do you
I
think?
hope so. That's why I really wanted this pick to be like when I'm on like my list here, because Omega Men Solicit just came out this week and it says that they killed Kyle Rayner, and I was flabbergasted. So I can't wait for this issue to come out so I can see if Kyle Rayner actually dies at the end, because it'll be devastating. It's my favorite Lantern.
I wish John and Kyle would become more mainstream and they'd kill Hal for good.
Yeah, you don't like Hal.
No. I don't like Hal in the comics.
Yeah.
Hal in the movies and the show and all, fine, but no.
I know. Haven't you get a little religious with Hal, right?
No, not
So
really.
you call him the Jesus Lantern?
Oh,
Isn't that what you called him
no,
one time?
that's
I thought that's what you were calling.
somebody who I used to podcast with who infuriates me so much. He's one of these people that
I know
will
how
not
that
let
is.
you get it. He's one of these people that will not let you get a word in edgewise, and he used to call Hal Jesus Jordan
Okay.
because his opinion is Jeff Johns will never let Hal Jordan die.
Yeah.
And always resurrects him, whatever else. Eric's fourth and final pick for March is Earth 2 World's End number 26. Written by Daniel H. Wilson, Marguerite Bennett, and Mike Johnson. Art by Eddie Barrows. Hey, I haven't seen him do anything since his Nightwing days. Tyler Kirkham, George Jimenez, R.B. Silva.
It goes on and on.
And a bunch of other people.
On and on.
The cover is by Andy Kubert. This is another advanced solicit. It'll be on sale April 1st. $3.99, final issue.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. It's supposed to be the March, but this is kind of like a drag over into the beginning of April.
And it's one of those things where I've mentioned I've tried to mention as much as I can in the preview. Some of them will be advanced solicits. Let's see here. Darkseid wins. All hail Darkseid.
Some solicit.
Who the hell? Who the hell wrote that solicit? Like, seriously? There's more information in this solicit in who's actually on the book or doing covers. Why did you pick this?
It's because it's the final issue of World's End, and it's one of those weekly titles that you've kept with. You want to see a finale to it, and that's the only reason. Because this book has infuriated me throughout its run because it's just been inconsistent, awful writing. Like you saw how many artists are in the book, so
yeah,
it's just ridiculous. I need this book to end so I can get a decent conclusion, and I know what's going on.
It doesn't sound like you're going to get that.
I hope so. I'm telling you, anybody who's been reading Earth 2 World's End is pretty much still on board just to get to that ending.
Yep. It's just the same as Eternal. And
it's the same as Future.
End.
Exactly. They're all the same. All the weekly books are suffering really bad.
Yeah. My picks from March. Batman Arkham Knight #1 is my first pick, written by Peter J. Tomasi, art by Victor Bogdanovic, and Art Thibert. The cover is done by Dan Panosian. It is out March 11th. It will be $3.99. It is a digital first series. The Joker is dead. Arkham City is closed. And as a new day begins, Bruce Wayne finds himself in devastating pain, recovering from his injuries and questioning whether his role as Batman is still necessary to the city's survival. But as the sun rises in Gotham City, dangerous new threats emerge from the shadows, and the Arkham Knight is just beginning. Don't miss this in-continuity prequel comic set prior to the events of the brand new video game Batman Arkham Knight. I was optimistic about this because it's probably the only quote-unquote DC Universe Batman story I'm even interested in right now. And it... I remember reading your review about this, Jim, because this is already out.
Yep.
This one came out, like I said, it's already out March 11th. And I read your first review of the digital chapter 1, and you said that the art was really, really good. You're wondering where they found this guy and whatever else. I looked through it and read it. I'm like, he's basically tracing over.
I know what you're going to say.
He's a fucking tracer. He's basically tracing over Capullo. It's Capullo
It's
style.
very much his style. I love it.
It's
I
a good
don't-
style to trace over. Come on.
Why I really like it is because I do most of the digital books that come out. I do them on our site, and I'm telling you, the garbage half the time that you get on some of these digital books is awful. And just to have something that if he traces, he does a damn good job of tracing because it looks good. And I'm telling you, as a digital title, it impressed me. But yeah, it's his style. He definitely is kind of lifting that style.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Victor here, it is a good style of art. It's just when I saw his Joker and it's specifically his Joker and his Batman, I'm like, he basically copied Capullo. Not that that's a bad thing, but like I was expecting something more of the video game style, like from Arkham City and that kind of vein, and it's not. The story is really good.
Yeah, I like the story. The thing I just read, the one that you're pointing out, the print issues, chapters 1, 2, and 3, which I really, really liked. I read chapter 4 and reviewed it today, actually, and it's a kind of seems like a one and done Joker story, and I'm starting to wonder why we're getting this. I want more of the Arkham Knight. I want more of the prequel, but I guess what they're doing, they're setting you up between the end of Arkham City and the Harley's Revenge DLC that came out after Arkham City, so they're trying to get you up to speed that way. And I wish that it would have just started after all that, and we got new stuff because it is a lot of retread if you played the end of the games and the DLC and stuff.
Well,
like
maybe
that.
I have to read it then because I played Harley's Revenge. I don't remember anything about it though.
Oh, it's leading up to that, but yeah, I want more. I want to know who the Arkham Knight is. Which we probably won't get to know in the comic. That'll be for the game, but I want to see more of it.
I want to see more of him in action.
That's what I'm saying,
as of this recording, I've only read digital chapter 1. I have not read the full print issue.
You're
yet.
not missing much of the actual Arkham Knight. You don't see much of him, and you only get to think it might be was the first one when he shot the guy in the face. Yeah, that's about the biggest thing, and that it ends. He kind of gets involved with Batman himself at Arkham, but then it's kind of like a cop-out. I want more of that, but right now it's kind of, I guess it's going to go until at least June when the game comes out. I think that's when it comes out, and
then if the game is successful, just like Injustice, they'll continue
keep going. But yeah,
I'm gonna play the hell out of that game.
Yeah, I can't wait for the game. So yeah, I really do like it. I do like the art, but again, it's more. I understand what you're saying. It is a copycat type of style, but again, for that quality of artwork in the digital title, I really like.
No, I agree. Yeah, I agree with that quality. I mean, not everyone can be Tony Silas on Batman Beyond.
That was great. Yes.
Yeah. All right, my second pick is The Flash, Season 0, Number 6, written by Andrew Kressberg, art by Phil Hester and Eric Gaffster, who was actually, both of them were on the Mark of the Phantasm arc for Batman Beyond's digital issues way back when. This came out March 4th. It's $2.99. Is a digital first, obviously. A new story arc begins here. When peculiar homicides start to occur in Central City, Barry and Joe recruit the Star Labs team to help them with the investigation. It isn't long before the gang discovers something even more shocking when reports indicate that the wounds on the deceased appear to have been caused by a great white shark. I want to read The Flash Season 0. I love the television show. I haven't had a chance to just yet, but I'm really interested in this.
It's false advertising though, because it's not before the Flash. It's like somewhere in the in between episodes. It's a weird thing they've done.
Yeah, I mean, it's but I mean, they had to call it something.
Agreed.
Yeah, they want to sell.
True.
Yeah.
All right. Up next, I'm actually going to flip-flop my third and fourth picks, and I don't know why I picked this one. I really don't, because I'm just so not sold on a team-up between Superman and Scooby-Doo. But here we go. Scooby-Doo team-up number 9, written by Sholey Fish, art and cover by Dario Brizuela. It came out March 4th. It's $2.99. Superman needs help from Scooby and the gang, so they speed to Metropolis in the horribly haunted Daily Planet offices, but then Superman is turned into a superpowered monster. Even with help from Lois Lane, Jimmy Olsen, and Crypto the Superdog, how can these meddling kids stop the transformed man-monster of steel before he wrecks the city?
They're all screwed. Scooby's dying in this, and the whole gang is killed.
Okay, let me defend Scooby-Doo Team Up just for a bit. When they did the original Batman run, when they launched the title, and they had the Batman Team Up and the Bat-Hound Team Up and the Bat-Mite and all that stuff, that was awesome. I then dropped off when they started doing Justice League stories and picked it back up for the Flintstones and Jetsons issues, but I don't know. I wish that they would go a little bit more like. I get it's a DC license, and obviously Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, all that stuff. But it's just one of those things where I wish they would do more stuff like the Jetsons, the Flintstones,
Space Ghost,
Space Ghost, Blue Falcon, Yogi Bear, whatever. So. I assume neither of you are reading Scooby-Doo Team Up.
No.
I read way back, which I can't even remember what it was. It was one of the first ones that I really did like.
Wasn't the Wonder Woman?
No, actually, it was it was just Batman, and Ace was in it, and
yep.
yeah. I actually like that, but yeah, I don't keep up with it now.
Yeah. All right, finally, best one out of my group, honestly. He-Man, The Eternity War, number 4, written by Dan Abnett, art by Pop Mahan, cover by Stefan Sejic. It's on sale March 25th for $2.99. This is it, the battle you've been waiting for. She-Ra versus Hordak. In order to retrieve the Eye of Kronos, She-Ra must defeat her adoptive father. Her only hope for success lies in the power of the Sword of Protection, and maybe a little luck.
Okay.
Why am I flashing on Optimus Prime when I hear that we need a lot of energy? We need some. I don't. It's from Transformers the movie.
Yes, I got you.
It's I don't know. But no, He-Man the Eternity War
I have in
has
my head now.
yeah. He-Man the Eternity War has been awesome so far. Issue 3 was a little strange for me. I didn't dislike it, but it was a little weird because they don't mention the He-Man part of that story at all. Like not even a snippet in issue 3, but issue 4, absolutely looking forward to it. Eric, I know you've been reading the series. Opinions.
Well, that's like I said. I'm actually happy that they're going back and forth though between the issues for each different story.
Yeah,
I guess they're not doing it now because this is a continuation of the last one. So I guess they're doing like a 2 on, 2 off.
Yeah, something like that, I guess. And it's just one of those things where I just wish that there was something in the other issue, in issue 3, acknowledging that the He-Man part of the story was still happening.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I thought like her battle with Catra and Scorpino were awesome though.
Oh, that was awesome. That was so awesome.
And
very much
that cliffhanger with Hordak though. I'm like, oh damn, shit's going down next issue.
As soon as I put because I think I did a review of issue 3. As soon as I put it up, somebody commented somewhere and said, "Hey, look, it's Mum-Ra," because he kind of looks like the hulked up version of the 2011 Mum-Ra from the 2011 Thundercat series. All right, folks, that's going to do it for March's DC releases. Up next, we're going to head on over to Image Comics and see what kind of creator-owned or original stories we get. Once again, I'd like to thank Jim and Eric for joining me here. You can find them over on Weird Science of DC. What is that website, Jim?
Weird Science DCComicsblog.blogspot.com.
There you go,
That's
folks.
it.
Up next is Image Comics. We'll be back after this.
All right.
So let's say you're looking for a podcast of your favorite 80s comic books, G.I. Joe, Transformers, Ninja Turtles, He-Man, etc. Where are you going to go to find us?
Welcome to Star Joe's Podcast. I'm your host, Ryan.
And I'm Chuck. That's right, everybody. We're the Star Joes. We host a podcast called Star Joe's Podcast. where we talk about your favorite comic books, your favorite toys of all the 80s properties.
Star Wars, G.I. Joe, Transformers, Mask, Thundercats, Voltron, you name it, we cover it. If it's in the 80s, we'll cover it at some point.
Yeah, so what you want to do to find us, you can go to iTunes, you can go to www.starjoes.com.
And remember, the Force will be with you.
Because knowing us is half the battle.
All right, folks, it's once again time to head on over to the Image Comics den of comicdom. With me this time around, once again, is Jeremy Fein. Hello, sir.
How you doing there, sir? Or should I say, bitch planet, please?
Oh, no. No. We'll talk about that later. All right, so we're going to be talking about Image Comics releases in March 2015. I will try my best, as always, to notify you guys if it is an advanced solicit. I don't usually pick Image titles that do advanced solicits, but just in case. For my choices, we have Cowl number 10, story by Kyle Higgins and Alex Siegel, art and cover by Rod Rice. It comes out March 25th. It is $3.99. After weeks of vicious attacks by Camden Stone and Jeffrey Warner's villains, Cowl finally has a new contract with the city. Now, will Jeffrey be able to rein in the fabricated villains? Plus, Detective Evelyn Thompson confronts John Pierce's killer. Dun dun dun. Have you been keeping up with Cowl?
Sadly, I have not, but guilty with an explanation. I do have it on my Comixology. I did download the first issue. I am going to be picking up the trade very soon. I have been lambasted with so many comics at this point that Cowl is definitely... I mean, boy, I'll tell you, 20 years ago, it was like either DC or Marvel, and now I'm kind of like... I just go by the story. And I just...
For you, there's way too many options at this point.
And Cowl, I can't wait to see what they're going to... Once I finally sit down and read this, because I've heard so much about it and the soundtrack and what have you.
Yeah. You have to just... Me personally, my personal opinion, it's great. You have the first issue in your Comixology. Just get the trade on Comixology and read the first trade, because that's the first 5 issues right there. And just read it all in one go, because it's going to be much more enjoyable. You're not going to be able to put it down. You're just not. I'm really interested to see what is going to happen with these fabricated villains between Camden Stone and Jeffrey Warner. Absolutely loving Cowl. My next choice is The Dying and the Dead number 3. Sadly, I still have not read number 1 yet. I've been meaning to, but story is by Jonathan Hickman, art by Ryan Bodenheim. It comes out March 18th. It is a $3.50 book, and the subtitle here is This Unholy Instrument. The secret history of the sacred object everyone is racing to recover is revealed, and you won't believe where it will lead our heroes next. The best new book of the year rambles on in The Dying and the Dead number 3, The Unholy Machines of Progress. This series has me interested. I remember when we did the first solicitation for this, for issue number 1, just that first solicitation, I was like, oh my god, this is a series I really should be reading. And I just, last couple of months since we did that episode of the podcast, I just haven't had a chance to go back and read it, but I do plan on doing. Have you checked this series out or no?
Dying and the Dead. Again, I have the issue on Comixology. I've not read the other 2 issues as of yet, but it's on there. I mean, the one good thing is I've upgraded my iPad to 28 gigs, so it's filled with Turtles comics and Image comics and Harley Quinn comics. So believe me, it's definitely in there somewhere. It's in that shuffle. I have close to now 500 comics with several solicitations. So it's definitely going to be, and I haven't even gotten to the fact that Image Comics has their own app now, which pisses me off. It pisses me off because most of the Image comics are on Comixology, but then you have to go to Image to get the rest.
Yeah. It's really crazy. I wish that Comixology / Amazon / whoever, I know it's Amazon, but I wish they would make a deal with all the publishers to have we've mentioned on this podcast before, Dark Horse has, I think they have their own app or their own online digital thing, but they're not in Comixology. And I'm like, Dark Horse is like well, you got DC and Marvel are the big two. You got IDW and Image are the next big two. And then I would say Dark Horse and Boom and whoever else. But it's just one of those things where, yeah, get on it. My third choice here is a new series that's starting, Invisible Republic #1, story by Gabriel Hardman and Corinna Bechko. I hope I'm pronouncing that properly. Art and cover by Gabriel Hardman. Colors done by Jordan Boyd. Comes out March 18th. It is a $2.99 title. I am not a fan of this first series, and I don't think I've ever seen the first. I don't think I've ever seen this film that they mention here in the solicit. But Breaking Bad meets Blade Runner. Arthur McBride's planetary regime has fallen. His story is over. That is until reporter Kroger Babb discovers the journal of Arthur's cousin, Maya. Inside this violent, audacious, hidden history of the legendary freedom fighter, erased from the official record, Maya alone knows how dangerous her cousin really is. Creative team Gabriel Hardin, Kinsey Intense AV Club, and Corinna Bechko. Heathen Town, nuanced, Broken Frontier, brought you sci-fi adventure before. Planet of the Apes, Star Wars, Legacy, Hulk, but never this gritty or this epic. I'm interested in this one, but I don't know if it's something I'll go beyond the first issue.
Well, it's got Blade Runner references. How bad could it be?
Oh, that's true. My final pick for March coming out here, we have Descender #1. Came out March 4th. It is a $2.99 book. Story by Jeff Lemire. Art and cover by Dustin Nguyen. One young robot's struggle to stay alive in a universe where all androids have been outlawed and bounty hunters lurk in every planet. A rip-roaring, heartfelt cosmic odyssey that pits humanity against machine and a world against world to create a sprawling space opera from the creators of Trillium, Sweet Tooth, and Little Gotham. Extra size first issue, 30 story pages for only $2.99. This looks really cool.
Chappie. Number Johnny 5. The Fugitoid. Look, I'm all for all those characters, and I think it's about time that they got their own spin-off. I mean, we can even go back to a Ray Bradbury short story where we had a robot that may have killed its creator, and it was put on trial, and it turned out that it didn't kill its creator, but somehow while it was on trial, it heard that this little girl was out playing in traffic outside the courthouse, and it runs out of the courthouse to push this little girl from getting hit by a car, and unfortunately the car somehow destroys the robot, so the robot is cleared of all charges because it's like if it saves the little girl from getting hit by a car, it couldn't have killed its creator. So I'm all for, like, I mean, I know Steven Spielberg has been trying to work on this movie Roboticlips or something like that. I forget how it's pronounced. But I do know that with Chappie coming out and a remake of Short Circuit, I don't know why. And I know with Turtle...
Is that really going forward?
I heard that the creators of Robot Chicken were supposed to work on the remake, and then Chappie came out. So I think Short Circuit got shelved, and that's why we got Chappie. But I go back also to the Fugitoid, and I think he's back in the IDW Turtle universe. So I'm kind of wondering. It seems like they're trying to go back to the well with robots with artificial intelligence that don't want to be evil. They want to be human, and I'm all for that. It's just how many more of these stories are we going to see without just like moving forward? So.
I don't know. It looks, like I said, it sounds really interesting to me. And it looks like it could be a lot of fun. So, all right, getting into Jeremy's picks. His first one is Five Ghosts Special #1, story by S.M. Vidori and Frank J. Barbary. Art and cover by S.M. Vidori. Came out March 25th. It is 40 pages, $3.99. Explore the mythology of five ghosts with a beautiful painted story from S.M. Vidori, Jim Henson Storyteller, Witches, Iron, or the War After, featuring knights, demons, wizards, and the Dreamstone. In the special backup story, Frank J. Barbary presents Fabian in one of the most exciting literary heists ever. Why did you pick this one?
As I said, as I said offline, if you're a fan of Jim Henson's The Storyteller, then this would be for you. And that's what I thought it was going to be, where you're going to have the John Hurt character with the Muppet Dog, and while they were talking, we were going to have like these Jim Henson Storyteller transitions. But I do like the idea that you have 5 literary ghosts that are possessing this one guy as he goes on these adventures. Again, this has some great imagery. And the ghosts, I mean, you have a wizard, you have an archer, you have a detective, you have a samurai, and you have, of course, well, gotta have a vampire, apparently. But the detective is kind of like a Sherlock Holmes. Archer, I guess if you're into Assassin's Creed, the video game, you can't go wrong because that's what it looks like. Wizard, it's not so much Rasputin, but I guess if the Rasputin Image comics aren't doing too well, you can go for the samurai. Well, again, since we're a fan of IDW Turtles, and I love the mythology of Splinter and the Turtles and Rocco Saki from the first few issues of Ninja Turtles, like what they were like before they were reincarnated into, Splinter and the 4 Turtles, then I like the samurai. The vampire, I don't know. I feel if you ever watched that episode of The Critic, where, the Clint Eastwood character is partnered with a T-Rex and a leprechaun and an aggressive woman. But the vampire, I don't understand what the point of him is. I kind of turned off. But it's got an interesting story. And I like the possessions and the stories that he goes through and the challenges he goes through with these different characters. I've read the first issue so far. I'm hooked. Again, this is another Image comic where there's not that much dialogue. You could just look at the images of World War I planes and seeing things through the ghost's eyes. So all in all, if you like a different type of time travel / ghostly possession, it's for you. It's short, it's sweet and to the point, and it's up there with... I'm still with Rasputin, so between this and Rasputin, and again, Frank Barbary, I hope I'm pronouncing his last name correctly, and I know it's a little bit hard. Yeah. He's worked on Avengers World, he's worked on some other comics, RoboCop The Human Element, which I actually am a fan of, because I have been reading some RoboCop comics. And of course, well, Axis Revolutions from X-Men, but yeah, I mean, it's 50-50, but I'm for it right now.
Jeremy's next pick is Invincible number 118, story by Robert Kirkman, art and cover by Ryan O'Tilley, Cliff Rathburn, and Jean-Francois Boulay. Comes out March 25th, 24 pages. It's only 25 cents, huh?
Yeah.
Invincible and Adam Eve set off on the adventure of a lifetime, parenthood. They've taken to the stars and left their troubles on Earth behind them. As things take a drastic turn for our heroes, you'll find yourself asking, is this book still about superheroes? I've never heard of that. I've heard of this, but it's 118 issues in. Do I really need to go back and read the other 117 to get it?
Excellent question. Here's the problem, though. Well, when we get to next month, when I bring up Elephant Men, you're going to wonder the same thing. Here's the thing. For me, it's Robert Kirkman, and I was wondering, is there life after Walking Dead? In an interview, he said that he always wanted to work on Batman. So I can tell that this is the closest thing you would have to Batman. I mean, if you look at these characters, especially with one of the variant covers, it does look like, there's a Robin or a Damian Drake-esque character. Invincible, what can I say about it? I guess it's supposed to be his version of Static Shock. But, again, if you like teenagers with superpowers, they're You know what? If you like Superior Spider-Man on Disney XD, and if you like Static Shock, that's the best thing I could say. It's hard for me to discuss all 117 issues.
Well, right, no, but I mean, it's one of those things where is it set into, I assume it's 117 issues in, I assume it's set into arcs, so they find places somewhere for new readers to jump on. So can I jump on at like 113 or 112, or is this a good jumping on point for new readers at 118, or do they need to know everything that has happened already?
I really suggest you start from the beginning, because there are some arcs with some, you have, I'm trying to pronounce this correctly, the Village-Rumian War. And that's the problem. So you're going to be dealing with a lot of not intergalactic battles so much, but some interdimensional battles. It's not your typical so much good versus evil on another planet, but in different dimensions. So you may get a little lost in the shuffle if you jumped on to 113 and 114. Unless Wikipedia is not going to help you, fans aren't going to help you. They're going to tell you, go back to issue 1. But I can assure you that if you don't like the trade so much, because it's $10 and it's the first few issues, you'll know at that point. Or you could just pick up the first issue, like I said, for a couple shekels and make the decision there. The dialogue is not as great as a DC comic, so it's 50-50. But again, if you like Kirkman's writing with Walking Dead, then and on survival situations and psychological and philosophical issues, then you will enjoy this character.
All right, his next pick is Sex Castle OGN, story art and cover by Kyle Starks. Comes out March 18th, 208 pages, black and white. $15.99 cover price. The former world's greatest assassin leaves the world of killing to a small town only to be pulled back in an exciting action romp, the style of a classic 80s action film. Okay, so, ladies and gentlemen, that's where the solicit ends, and then they have a quote from Matt Fraction. Don't get me wrong, Matt Fraction's an awesome guy. I love his series, Sex Criminals. But why are they including a quote from Matt Fraction as part of the solicitation? He says, Sex Castle is a perfect mix of homage and comedy, action and irony, loving tribute, and hilarious send-up of the great, good, and ungodly bad action movies of the 80s. I don't remember the last time a debut book hit me this hard. Literally, this book punched me in the face. It's that mean.
It's not mean so much. I almost feel like this is just a dream sequence. He does look a little bit like Snake Plissken, I suppose, with the eye patch. As for bad 80s, we're children of the 80s. I mean, we grew up watching Commando and Schwarzenegger movies and so on and so forth. The problem is, I don't know, the dialogue was cheesy because you had actors that were more muscle-bound than they were classically trained. So I can forget. You just can't.
Yeah, I mean, Arnold started as a bodybuilder in Austria, so
you can't so much as just write cheesy dialogue, because Schwarzenegger, I mean, he's not that witty, so he has to say something. He can get away with saying something cheesy. Stallone thinks that he's funny at times, at least with, I mean, Rocky really wasn't an action movie, and Rambo was really more of, post Vietnam vets. So you really just had Arnold. And I guess with Snake Plissken, Snake, I guess, was just escape from New York, but he wasn't an Arnold Schwarzenegger. So Arnold had to depend on those one-liners. I understand that they want to try to bring those movies back. I admit, I have not watched The Expendables.
What's wrong with you?
Well, I'm still watching Running Man.
Oh, God.
I'm still watching Commando, But then again, I haven't watched Escape from New York, and I have it somewhere. But I grew up, it's a different place at a different time, and, the sketches on this, they kind of feel like Mad Magazine Spy versus Spy. Mm-hmm. But the dialogue itself, I don't think they quite get it. It seemed like a good idea at the time, but I don't know if I'm going to continue with the series.
His final choice for image is Bitch Planet number 4, story by Kelly Sue DeConnick, art and cover by Valentin Delandro. Comes out March 18th, or came out March 18th. It is a 350 title. A secret prisoner may be a ringer in Cam's girls. A secret prisoner may be the ringer Cam's girls need if they hope to survive the coming death match. Series co-creator Valentin Delandro rejoins Kelly Sue DeConnick on art. So, I have not read past issue 1 on Bitch Planet. It just didn't... I don't know, it just didn't pull me in as much as I thought it was going to.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. You know, they say 3 times the charm, and that's why I say Bitch Planet, please. Here's the problem, and I said this the last time and the time before that. I think the very first time we came across this one. I like the covers. I especially like the cover with the third one because, again, it feels like a poster for a 70s Grindhouse movie. But the problem is that I'd rather watch it on the big screen directed by Robert Rodriguez than just look at the... Here's the thing. I don't know if you remember in the 80s, and I can't remember the name of the company, but there were 2 companies that published independently a comic book version of Gremlins and Last Crusade, and they were softcover. I think they also did a Little Shop of Horrors. And it feels like the same imagery with how they're discipling these characters. Like, somebody came across this movie. It must have been made somewhere in Turkey or Italy, never came to the States, and somebody's just tracing those characters and just putting the dialogue. But I'm bored by the characters, the I mean, I've been down this road before with these type of movies, and I have to see them move. I just can't see them drawn. So I have to say I'm done with Bitch Planet. It's not working for me. There are some Image comics, and I know next time there's probably about 3 of them that I'm going to hold on to. But I think out of my 4 picks, Bitch Planet definitely gone. Sex Castle, not what I thought. I am going to hold on to 5 Ghosts, though. And Invincible, God, that would take, like, 3 years for me to explain that entire series, right?
Yeah, no, we're not going that long. Yeah, folks, the Image selections this month, they were kind of limited. I don't think there was a solicit for Sex Criminals or Chew. If there was a solicit for Chew, I think it was one of those. Hey, I think actually that's what it was. They put in here, we can't tell you anything about Chew because everything that we could tell you would spoil the entire... They did something funny with that one. So, we are going to be covering Sex Criminals Volume 2, which is issues 6 through 10 at some point. The podcast has been kind of lax and behind on everything. I had some financial issues come up at the end of February that it just depressed me to the point of no return, and I just couldn't. First 3 weeks of March, this is the first time since we had episode 99 that I've been able to record anything, folks. But we are going to have episode 100. We are going to have Marvelous March. It is going to be backdated. It'll still be late, but it'll be backdated to air in March. Okay, on to the final company of the day. JT and I are going to hit up the Marvel solicits after this.
What is this weird place?
1 part gymnasium, 1 part survival course, affectionately referred to as the Danger Room.
Alright, folks, finally up on this episode of Profiling Previews, we have the Marvel titles. JT from Saskatoon is back with me. Is it still snowing up there?
No, it's mostly melted, and it's only -4 today.
Well, that's in Celsius. That doesn't count. All right, so JT's picks. He's picking all new Hawkeye #1 because apparently nobody gives a crap about Matt Fraction's Hawkeye anymore, and they're killing it.
Well, if you read the regular Hawkeye title, he kind of brought it to his, the ending he was going for, and it's proved to be a very popular series. I mean, Hawkeye.
I tried. I just don't care about Hawkeye on his days off.
Well, maybe you should.
No.
But yeah,
all new Hawkeye #1, written by Jeff Lemire, art and color and covers by Ramon Perez. The Avenging Archers are back. Hawkeye returns in an all-new series featuring superstar writer Jeff Lemire and his Marvel debut and Eisner Award-winning artist Ramon Perez as they bring you a fresh new look into the life of everyone's favorite Avenger. With Kate Bishop, his trusted ward and protege, back at his side, and not titles she would use, Team Hawkeye is thrown into an all-new adventure spanning 2 generations of Avenging Archers. Past, present lives collide as Kate and Clint face a threat that will be a challenge in everything they know, but what does it mean to be Hawkeye? No one puts Hawkeye in a corner. Hawkeye and Hawkeye take aim March 2015. This will be a $3.99 book.
And Alan Alda is nowhere to be found.
I don't know. I sounds interesting. I know that this is going to lead up to Secret Wars, though.
Yeah.
The Secret Wars is their whole, we're going to collide everything together. And I find that so interesting that DC and Marvel are trying to bring their universes all together as one. And yet Marvel seems to, once they do Secret Wars, I don't know, I read somewhere that Marvel was going to do the multiple Earths thing.
Well, the whole idea behind Secret Wars is, and this is something that Jonathan Hickman has been setting up for like the last 5 years through his work with Avengers and Fantastic Four, is they're essentially, during Secret Wars, they're going to create a new battle world, which is composed of myriad multiple Marvel multiverse worlds. So there's going to be a Secret Wars Planet Hulks where there's a bunch of different versions of the Hulk running around. They got Ghost Riders where a bunch of all the different versions of Ghost Riders are basically in this like Death Race like scenario. And at the end of it, they're saying they're going to merge the 616 and Ultimate Marvel universes together, Crisis on Infinite Earth style. So nothing will be the same again, and that's just, we should probably, I'm just going to talk about Hawkeye, otherwise I'll start ranting. Jeff Lemire, Canadian writer, he's been really, he's got a taste for the weird with a lot of his work, so I'm kind of looking forward to this one. And Ramon Perez for years did a online comic strip called Butternut Squash, which he's really got, he's got a very unique art style, and it plays towards, kind of weird, funny stories. So it'll be nice to see how he does here. And this isn't his first time doing art for Marvel. He did Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man Learning to Crawl last year, which was kind of it was a mini series of like 0.1 issues. It was like 15.1 or 1.1, however it was. And it's basically told an adventure that took place in like the first few months of him being Spider-Man. Where he's learning, how to fight and how to move and mastering the, sarcastic comments that he's known for. And it's a really very well done. He's got a nice cool art style. I'm looking forward to it. Plus it's Hawkeye, and I've always had, one of my favorite characters has always been Robin Hood, so.
Yeah, Robin Hood. She's a fox. As long as this isn't him on his day off, I might check this out, or I don't know. It just that whole premise of can't. JT's next pick is Amazing Spider-Man #16. Dan Slott and Christos Gage on writing. Humberto Ramos on art and cover and colors. Women of Marvel variant cover by Ming Doyle. Spider-Verse is over, but that doesn't mean Peter Parker is safe. Someone or something has invaded Parker Industries and is targeting its staff. But how? Parker Industries security can keep out any living thing. This is a Yeah, this is a $3.99 book. I have to admit, folks, I am so far removed from Spidey at this point. Once they destroyed Superior just to make sure kids understood, hey, you go see this movie, you can come read this once they killed off Superior and brought back Amazing back, I just haven't. I want to get into it eventually, and we will in not Superior, Spider-Verse September this month, or not this year in the pull bag, but I just can't. Like, they had such a good thing going with Superior Spider-Man and Doc Ock being Spidey, and they just had to bring Peter. They had to restore the status quo, and it's like, really? Seriously? Why should people be checking this one out?
Well, we're getting into the home stretch of Amazing Spider-Man here, because, again, like we said, they got the Secret Wars coming, and not anything is really known, like how any titles, if they're going to go beyond the numbering, if we're going to get another all-new number one. And it's just, they're finally getting, it's like, I enjoyed Spider-Verse immensely, but it's nice to get back into, Peter Parker's own life and see what's going on there. I mean, he's still got, his quasi-relationship with Anna Maria. They've got, what's going to go on with Silk, in here, as well as their own title. You got his number 2 there at Parker Industries, who's working with the Black Cat to undermine, Peter at the business level like that. It's something I enjoyed with the setup here. We're finally getting back to it after these last few issues of, multiple Spideys. And we're back to, it's Dan Slott, who other people that I've podcasted with and talked to, it was like, oh, Dan Slott's the devil. And I was like, yeah, he made Spidey fun and accessible for the first time in like a few years. And everyone's like, oh, One More Day sucked. It's like, yes, One More Day did suck. Everything after that has actually been kind of good. And I say it like that to imply the fact that I want to smack these people upside the head with a sack full of doorknobs. Let it go. That being said, if you love Spider-Man on any conceivable level, I would definitely recommend picking up the regular title, and it moves on to my next pick on the list as well. It's also an Amazing Spider-Man comic.
It's Amazing Spider-Man issue number 16.1, written by Jerry Conway, art by Carlo Barberi, cover by Arthur Adams. Variant is to be announced at this point. I'm sorry, this is not Dick Grayson's book. Spiral begins here. The underworld is in constant flux, as it has been since the Kingpin got taken out at Shadowland. The war is heating up, and Spidey's gonna do something about it. But he's not the only one. Police Captain Yuri Watanabe is trying to curtail the madness both in her day job as a police officer and the vigilante, the Wraith. Do she and Spidey play by the same rules? Probably not. It's a $3.99 book. Yeah, I don't do the .1 issues. I don't know what it is about. Like, it just seems like everything has to have a tie-in.
Well, yeah, I mean, originally when the .1 issue started, it was literally because they do Spider-Man like every couple of weeks still. It's one of the few Marvel titles that does this. The .1 issues across the whole Marvel schedule was essentially jumping on issues. And with Spider-Man, like I said before, they had Learning to Crawl, which was like a .1 miniseries. They're doing that again here, and I guess it's kind of... I don't completely understand the logic of why Marvel's getting this in under the wire like this, but it's basically this miniseries of, I think it's like 5 issues, so it's like, 16.1, 17.1, is essentially... coming up on plot lines they've set up involving the Black Cat, who, after, Spock kind of screwed her over and got her arrested in Superior, because she knows who Spider-Man really is, she's basically coming for revenge, which is going to be a large part of this. And then they're also bringing back Captain Watanabe there and the Wraith, because, she's this vigilante police lieutenant or detective. And she's a little more... She skews a little more to the Punisher than she does to Spider-Man.
Yeah.
in terms of her methodology. So, and plus, it's written by Jerry Conway, who's one of the classic Spider-Man writers from back in the day. And it's also bringing back some of the classic Spider-Man villains like Tombstone and Hammerhead. If you look at the cover art, you see the Circus of Crime is in there with the Ringmaster. So it's basically a mob war Marvel style, which could be really entertaining, especially if they can resurrect Silvermane, because something about what if Don Corleone was a cyborg just kind of appeals to me as a comic book reader.
True. You called him Spock, and I'm like, wait, he just passed away, and I'm like, oh, that's what he did. I get it now.
I see what you did there.
Don't call him Spock.
Spock.
No, ew. That's just making it even more wrong, dude.
Okay, we'll just call him Otto.
Yeah, there you go. JT's next pick is S.H.I.E.L.D. number 4. Why? Mark Waid is on writing. Chris Sprouse is on art. Cover by Julian Totino Tedesco. Woman of Marvel variant cover by Colleen Duran. For years, S.H.I.E.L.D.'s most secret agent has been Sue Richards, the Invisible Woman. None of the other Fantastic Four are aware of her connection to the world's premier spy agency, but it's time they learn, because this is her last case. Is this supposed to be some sort of spin-off series for the damn TV show?
Well, it ties... it does tie... No, sorry. It is kind of that way. This is their Marvel's way of introducing, Fitzsimmons and, the Cavalry, Agent
I
May,
know.
Stuff, those characters into the series. Now, the whole idea behind this is, S.H.I.E.L.D. is still active in the Marvel Universe, and this is just their way of, getting this out there. And it's a promotional thing, don't get me wrong. It's just a lot of fun because they're playing up, Agent Coulson as being the Clark Gregg version, where he's this... He knows everything about every Marvel hero and villain. Like they're playing him as he's kind of this big old nerd who's also James Bond, but it's not exactly like the show. Like he's basically, when it comes there, Thanos attacks. Coulson in this series has like ultimate authority to basically draft any superhero he needs, and he puts together the teams that because he knows everything. He's smart enough to put together the right team for the right situation. Sort of thing. Mm-hmm. And this is straight up the Clark Gregg Coulson. This isn't the same Coulson that came out of the Battle Scars miniseries that introduced, Nick Fury Jr. to the 616 universe. Mm-hmm. But they're supposed to be the same characters, and I'm calling cosmic shenanigans as to why he's not the same character anymore. And
I just wish that they would have used Coulson as a life model decoy.
That would have been a disservice to Clark Gregg.
No, it wouldn't have. He could still act the part. Yeah. He could act like he could act like an android.
But the series in and of itself is basically there's a central mystery of like these purple rocks that infected Heimdall from Asgard, and they're building something in the background about this pervasive threat that's coming, but they don't know what it is yet, and it may or may not tie into Secret Wars, but so far it's basically this is what Coulson does, and this is who he does it with. So,
All right, JT's final pick here in March is Ant-Man number 3. Nick Spencer's on writing. Ramon Rosanas is on art. Cover by Mark Brooks. Variant cover by Cliff Chang. Woman of Marvel variant cover by TBA. Ant-Man faces off against his deadliest archenemy, the mercenary known as Taskmaster. Can we really call him an archenemy? Well, they've actually fought a bunch of times. Look it up. And they definitely don't like each other. That's what arch means, right? There's a mystery villain pulling the strings, and he's the one covered in heavy shadow. Mystery villains never have good lighting. Need to get on IKEA or something. Mystery villain pulling the strings. All as I can think of is that new movie. That's supposed to be coming out. There are no strings on him.
Yeah.
That's all I can think of. So why should people be checking out Ant-Man?
Because this isn't the story of a superhero. This is the story of a father who's trying to do right by his estranged daughter. Basically, Scott Lang was killed during Avengers Disassembled when Brian Michael Bendis took over the title just prior to New Avengers years ago, and through cosmic shenanigans and Doctor Doom villainy, his daughter was killed, and this helped to resurrect Scott, and then during Axis they brought his daughter back, and now because of all these dangerous stuff in her life, his ex-wife is taking his daughter and moving to Miami. And this is on the same day that he got a job working for Superior Iron Man as his director of security. And then he just kind of said nuts to that, and he moves to Miami because he wants to be part of his daughter's life. So as much as there's supervillain chicanery in this series, it's more about Scott Lang just trying to be there for his father. And I really enjoyed that part of the character, that the whole reason he became Ant-Man was to save his daughter in the first place.
Whoa, I've read the first 6 issues of Superior Iron Man. He was never in it.
Well, that's because he wasn't in it. He was in the first... Iron Man was in the first issue of Ant-Man.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. And also in the... Just to go back to the second issue, Ant-Man puts out a billboard because he's setting up his own kind of superhero security shingle in Miami. And it has an image of the Superior Iron Man going, "I'd hire him," which isn't at all lying because he technically did. And then they flash back to New York, and Tony's looking at a lawyer, and he's like, "Sue."
Yep.
So, but going for it, I mean, he's taken on Taskmaster, who's like one of my favorite Marvel villains because he's got the whole, he can defeat you by watching you fight, basically. And he's also... Again, they got this mystery villain. There's something brewing in the background, but it's more so this is just a dude trying to do right by his daughter.
Right.
And he lives in a Barbie dream house on top of some random building in Miami because, well, he can shrink down to that size, and, well, it saves him a lot on rent.
I thought he would have lived in an ant farm.
Play me out, Paul.
Not even live on. Hey, now, wait a second here. Out of the two of us, I am certainly not Paul Schaefer.
Oh, you're totally Paul Schaefer.
No, I'm not. All right, for my picks, we're going to go away from the Marvel heroes, but stick with Marvel here, obviously. Princess Leia numbers 1 and 2 of 5, written by Mark Waid, art and color by Terry Dodson. When Princess Leia Organa was captured by the Empire as a rebel spy, she never betrayed her convictions, even in the face of complete destruction of her homeworld, Alderaan. When her rescue came, she grabbed a blaster and joined the fight, escaping back to the Rebel Alliance and helping strike the biggest blow against the Empire, the destruction of the Death Star. That's no moon. But in the aftermath of that victory, the question remains, what is a princess without a world? Let's see. So, also, I really do hate it when companies do double solicits, like in the same thing.
Yeah.
I understand that Marvel releases books twice a month, but I just wish it was a separate solicit. So for issue 2, we've got Waid and Terry Dodson. They're bringing us the story of Leia's quest to help her people and find her place in the galaxy. I've read and done a written review of Princess Leia number 1. I'm loving that series.
I haven't read it yet, although it's a lot of the new Star Wars stuff that Marvel's putting out, I'm going to be getting, in short order. I'm definitely looking forward to this as well as, the Darth Vader series.
Oh yeah, Darth Vader's amazing. I've read the first 2 issues of that. It's awesome.
Yeah. But no, it's Terry Dodson, who love his art for years, and how could this book not be fun? Because, it's the master, the modern master of comic books, and that's no small praise in my opinion for Mark Waid. He is to comics what Kevin Smith is to movies, kind of like he's a fanboy done good.
Well, what Kevin Smith used to be.
Well, you know what
movies.
I mean. Not
because let's face it, no one needs a Clerks 2 or a Clerks 3 or a Mallrats 2.
I need a Clerks 3.
No. Clerks 2 ended
I said
just fine.
I need a Clerks 3. You don't need it, but don't tell me what I need, sir.
You don't need a Clerks 3 because the Clerks 2 ended on such a good note. Anyway, Darth Vader number 3 is my second choice. Kieran Gillian is on writing. Salvador LaRocca is on art. Cover by Adi Granoff. Variant cover by Salvador LaRocca. When a Dark Lord needs help, who can he turn to? Meet Afra, the galaxy's foremost raider of lost weaponry. Plus, could these be the deadly droids she's looking for? I friggin' love the Darth Vader series. I've only read Star Wars number 1 from Marvel. I have not read the second. Well, no, I did read 1 and 2. I haven't, obviously the third issue, I think, is out, but I haven't read it yet. But the Darth Vader series so far has been amazing. Just really, really has. The art captures how he is supposed to look. Gillen's voice in the writing is just absolutely amazing. It's like James Earl Jones is in my ear every time I read the book.
I gotta say that I love the subtle homage to the original Star Wars poster with this cover. Because you know how Astra's posed, and then like the evil C-3PO and dark R2-D2, and you know Vader in the background. They even got like that same star flaring in the background, which that's beautiful, man.
Yeah, that is amazing.
Plus, it's Salvador Larroca art, and I've been a huge fan of his since he was on Fantastic Four, like post Heroes Reborn back in the day. Like he's got a kind of an animated style, but at the same time it's very controlled and nicely detailed. So definitely pick this up, folks.
Absolutely. My next choice is a double choice, so I kind of cheated here. Silk and Spider-Gwen number 2. For Silk, we have Robbie Thompson on writing, Stacey Lee on art, cover by Dave Johnson, variant cover by TBA. Silk fights a familiar foe with metal tentacles, and there's much you still don't know about Silk. Find out more here. I read the first issue of Silk, and I thought it was just simply amazing. It was a very fresh take. It was a new character. I know some people have said, oh, if she got bitten by the same spider as Peter, doesn't that cheapen Peter being... No, it doesn't. It's a whole different set of circumstances.
Yeah. Well, no, she got bit by the same spider, but for those that don't know the backstory, she was basically locked up in a bunker to protect her from Morlun, who's one of the vampiric inheritors who were going through the dimensions and eating spider totems in Spider-Verse. And I enjoyed that first issue as well. I thought it was a lot of fun, just unequivocally fun. It'll be interesting to see where she goes from here, especially if she's fighting somebody with metal tentacles. That could mean possibly they're bringing back the female Dr. Octopus from the 90s. I'm just surprised that she is so well adjusted for having been locked up in a bunker for 10 years. I think you think she'd be a little more bug nut crazy.
Yeah.
For that having happened, but no, I mean that, and the fact that it's a new take on what Peter went through back in the day, where she's like this fact checker at Fox News for Bill O'Reilly. I mean, J. Jonah Jameson, because that's exactly what they're setting up Jonah to be now.
Well, first of all, J. Jonah Jameson does have his flaws here, but
I'm not saying he's not perfect. I'm just saying that in this take, he is Bill O'Reilly.
Right. Well, yeah, but wait. He is Jameson and his news conglomerate is so much better than Fox News. Come on now.
Well, it's just a frame of reference, Mike. Yeah. I'm not saying that they were Fox News.
I know.
But that's what they're setting JJ up as in the Spider-Verse now, is that he is the Bill O'Reilly of Marvel Comics. And Cindy Moon works for him, much like how when he was running the Bugle and Peter was, a freelance photographer. So it's cool that they're using conceit like that from the Spider-Verse to set things up, and she's a lot of fun. I mean, who knows what'll happen in the future, but for now I'm having a great time.
Absolutely. Also, we have Spider-Gwen number 2, written by Jason Latour, art and color and covers by Ravi Rodriguez, variant cover by Sarah Ficelli. Who is the Vulture? Gwen finds herself between a rock, this Vulture, and a hard place, the entire NYPD. Don't miss this second issue of the Spider character who set the world on fire. I don't know what it was with Spider-Gwen #1. I wanted to give it an honest try, and people will hear myself and Steve Megatron talk about it in episode 100 of the Pullbag later this month. But it's one of those things where I read the first issue and I'm like, I prefer Silk over Spider-Gwen. Spider-Gwen just, I don't know. Maybe I needed to read Spider-Verse before reading Spider-Gwen, but it just didn't grab me as much as I thought it was going to.
Now, the first issue was fun because this is all post Spider-Verse, and that it's I mean, the idea that you took Peter Parker's great love and she got the spider powers instead of Peter, and like if you read the Spider-Verse issue that introduced her, Gwen, you see it's Peter became the Lizard and he died, and then she's hunted by her own father until she saves him from this world's Rhino, where this world's Rhino looks like he's just got this giant hardened zit on his forehead, like he's some kind of mutant or superhuman. He's not some dude in a suit. It's just the idea that they're playing with a lot of the conventions. This is what we're used to. Well, here's another take. I mean, in the first issue, you meet Captain Frank Castle, who's now in charge of the Anti-Spider-Woman task force, and he's got a certain way of interviewing criminals.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that I'm against a different take on something. I never bought into the whole Gwen Stacy thing. I know the history of how she died and all that stuff, but because I was never reading comics back then, I don't have the emotional connection that a lot of people have to that event. So I was going into this fresh, just like I was going into Silk fresh. And me personally, I find Silk more enjoyable to read than this book.
Yeah, I mean, it's not for everybody. I'm giving it, it's like with new TV shows, I'm giving this a 4-issue rule. And if I'm still interested after 4 issues, I'll continue to be picking it up. So,
yeah. My final one is, of course, Superior Iron Man #6. Thomas Ray Taylor is on writing. Laura Braga is on art. Cover by Mike Choi. What shocking revelations have left Tony Stark reeling? Will Pepper Potts turn her back on Tony for good? The impossible is working against him. Doubt is creeping in, his history uncertain, and his future has just been complicated by another ghost of the past. I'll say now, Superior Iron Man is easily my favorite superhero title that Marvel is doing currently, outside of the Star Wars stuff.
Can you really call him a superhero at this point?
Okay, well,
I know what you're saying.
You know what I mean? Like, Darth Vader, Princess Leia, and Star Wars, those are all action heroes. It's an action series. It's a space opera. Like, when I think of superheroes, I think of somebody in an iron suit or somebody in, capes and tights. None of that Jean bullshit, thank you. And no, I'm not talking about Cyclops' Jean. I'm talking about, the Super Jeans.
The Super Jeans are back, baby!
Oh, good lord. But yeah, no, Superior Iron Man, it might, usually when I make my list of my top comics at the end of the year, I usually include stuff that started the previous year or started in that year or the previous year. I usually don't go too far. So this year, anything that started in 2014 that I liked is game for it. Honestly, at this point, and it's probably going to change obviously, but at this point I would put Superior Iron Man at #1 on my list. I'm enjoying it that much. It's just a really, really enjoyable book.
I've been loving it. It's just it's a little. I look at it as more of kind of a subversive sort of title, just in the fact that the quote unquote hero of the series is not that heroic.
Yeah.
I would almost apply the label of not superhero, but super douche. Or super.
Well, Tony's always been a super douche, whether he's being heroic or not.
Well, yeah, but I mean, this time, you see it, it's all out front, and just the revelation from the last issue of who the father of Teen A-Bomb is was kind of the hell, and I've been enjoying it. It's just
I think more so my what the hell moment is that Pepper actually dated him. That's like, what the hell?
Yeah. But from I read like another solicit had a little bit more, a slightly more detailed thing. Like some of the revelations that come in this issue sounds like it's going to be a big bomb. Like shit's going to get real, basically. But yeah, like Thomas Ray Taylor's writing has been really my favorite bit of this. The art kind of been hit and miss for me.
I've loved the art every issue.
The artist that did the first 3 issues, like the whole Daredevil thing, used to do this book with Garth Ennis called The Boys, and I think that was something that kind of turned me off on that book. It's all his art just looks soft, it just like rubbery, and it didn't work for me in that context. So that being said, I'm still reading the series, so
yeah, absolutely. All right, folks, that's going to do it for us. We're going to go to a quick ad break, and I'll come back to close this March previews episode after this.
Hello, geeks. Want a podcast that covers a vast array of topics with no rhyme or reason? Then check out Altered Geek Unlimited, where the topics fly more or less off the cuff. We cover media news, TV, our favorite geek products, and of course, your feedback. So get altered, get geeky with the Altered Geeks every Friday on the Geekcast Radio Network.
Alright, folks, there you have it. Stuff from DC, Marvel, IDW, and Image, Turtles, Transformers, Gem and the Holograms, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe from DC with the Eternity War, Cowl, and all that good stuff from Image. Absolutely awesome. Thank you so much. Leave feedback on the post. You can comment on the website post, or you can send email to feedback@geekcastradio.com. Let us know how we're doing here on Profiling Previews. I have been TF2 and Mike. Make your great escape into comics, and we will catch you next time.
You've just heard the latest episode of The Pullback, the GCRN's comic review and discussion podcast. There are several ways to get in touch with us and leave feedback for the show. You can visit the website, geekcastradio.com, where you can comment on the episode and all of our different podcasts. You can rate our show on iTunes. Be sure to leave us feedback. Call the voicemail line, 502-526-5821. Please remember to tell us the show you were leaving the message for, and your name. Become a fan of us on Facebook by searching Geekcast Radio Network. Send us an email feedback at geekcastradio.com. Follow us on Twitter at GeekcastRadio. So until next time, make your great escape into comics and unleash the geek in you.